Hey everybody, it's Friday night and it's another episode of the Asea 5 coming at you. I'm Dr. Hayes from Galveston, Texas, and I'm joined by the regulars, Jim and Ann Glenn. Ann is our beautiful nutritionist and personal trainer, and Jim is our big money man. They're coming from San Antonio. And then of course we have Dr. Lee Osler, dentist extraordinaire and author of the two highly acclaimed books, Redox Matters and Healthy Matters. If you haven't gotten your copies yet, go to redoxmatters.com. You got to get it. And we are so blessed and so happy to have one of our favorites on. Dr. David Silverman is joining us from Maryland. Now, he is a jet setter going back and forth between his two homes, a little bit of a snowbird action. So he spends half of the year in Maryland and then the winters in Florida. So hopefully your place in Florida did okay with Ian, I hope.
We did.
Fantastic. Yeah. So David, you've been part of Asea for quite some time now. Take us back to the very beginning, because a lot of people wonder how doctors get involved. And so I would love for you to talk about how you got introduced to this and what really caught your attention early on. And before we start, let me just give the disclaimer. I'm sure you'll hear it again. We have a lot of medical people involved with this company. These are not medical products. They're not meant to cure, treat, diagnose, or prevent anything. What they do is work at the cellular level to allow your cells to work better, to communicate better. And when everything is working great, the body is miraculous. And as Dr. Lee always says, we turn on the inner doctor. So anyway, take it away, David.
Well, first of all, it's fun to be back. It's been a little while since I was here, and I love that you all do this. And I have to say, you know, I've been humbled by this breakthrough for almost 12 years, and I'm really honored to be part of what you all are doing, which is bringing this to the world. This isn't a game. This isn't just some product. I mean, it's a massive breakthrough for humanity. And if someone's new listening to this, hopefully by the end of this, you will come to the point where you say, gosh, if what they're saying is true, this is a massive breakthrough. And I understand why they're so passionate about this. But my background is foot surgery. I owned my own practice here in Maryland, and my own surgery center. I was board certified in foot surgery, loved what I did, felt after about 5 years a little bit like Groundhog Day. I felt like, you know, if I was being respected by the insurance companies a little more, I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. But I was working all the time, loved being with my patients, but was really kind of like, is there more? Is there more? Can I do more to help people than just with feet? And the reason I went into feet was I didn't want to deal with life and death. I didn't want to tell someone they were dying, and that doesn't happen too much as a foot surgeon, you know. Unfortunately.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
What was one of your days like back when you owned your own clinic? I mean, what was this? What was a day for you?
I put one foot in front of the other. No.
Oh, well, that fits your business.
No. David is a part-time comedian.
No, but I had my own practice and surgery center. I'm not employable. I'm just psychologically unemployable. I can't work for other people. It just makes me feel sick to have to answer to somebody, you know? So I loved owning my own practice. But to tell you the truth, it started becoming a bit routine after about 5 years. I was like, I'm going to do this till I'm 70. I'm 62 now. I'd still be doing podiatry and foot surgery if I hadn't sold my practice, which I did do. But also I could only help so many people. You know, I could only help the people I was with. And I was good at what I did, but I couldn't help somebody in the next state. I couldn't help someone across the country. I couldn't help somebody in Hong Kong or France. Now I can do that. But you know, it was the office or surgery or the hospital, my surgery center, or the office. Those were the three places I'd be. And I did some pro bono things also. But 12 years ago, in December of 10, my friend Debbie Wetzler introduced Asea to me. And you know, when you say what makes a doctor interested, what made this doctor interested was this doctor's father. My dad was sick. I didn't look at it for me. I didn't look at it as for a way to do another business or anything else. I didn't look at the opportunity for about 8 months after getting my dad on this product, but I did investigate it for my dad. He had a pretty grave issue. type of issue no one wants to hear they have in any part of their body, whether it's their lung or their breast or their prostate or whatever. And we don't talk about diseases, so I'm not going to, but we all know what kind I'm talking about. But I investigated it for my dad, not for me. I wasn't interested in the anti-aging benefits. I wasn't, quite frankly, it sounded too good to be true to me. Even though my dear friend told me what it had done with her mother, I'm like, placebo, done for her, placebo. But I looked at it because of my dad. And first thing I saw was it was made from salt and water. I'm like, all right, we got to get a little deeper than this. But once I did the investigation, motivated because of my dad, okay, that's why I looked at it initially. That's not why I got involved with the business, but that's why I looked at it for the product. I saw that it was safe as water, talked to a lot of doctors, talked to a lot of people that had amazing results. Anecdotal, there were some studies. Now there's a much better study out now showing that it works on everybody. It has an effect on every single person at the genetic level. But I got my dad on it. Saw amazing things with him, thought it might have been placebo, could have been coincidence. But I kept referring people to Debbie. I didn't want to get involved. It was multi-level marketing, making lives miserable, MLM. And I said, I'm not doing that. I've been burned too many times, and twice actually. And I said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, forget it. So I did it twice. I said, that's it, I'm done. But I referred people to Debbie, and they kept coming back to me saying thank you with all kinds of unrelated things to my dad: skin, bone, lung, pancreas, eyes. And I was like, can this be real? Can this be the breakthrough that everybody says that it is? And I kept trying to convince myself it wasn't. And then a friend of mine from podiatry school got on the product because his joints were killing him, bone rubbing on bone, and he couldn't play golf anymore. He used to be a scratch golfer. He started drinking it. And back then we didn't have the gel. So I know we'll get to the gel. The gel version can make a believer out of anybody in minutes. If they want to know if it's real or not, they can know in minutes with this. This is a little trickier because it can take a day, it could take a month, it could take 3 months. But after 1 month of drinking it, he called me and he said, stuff's a good placebo. That's what a doctor would say, right? I said, what are you talking about? I forgot he even ordered it. And he said, after about 2 weeks of drinking it, I really wasn't hurting very much. And I just went to play golf, and I haven't played golf in a year and a half because I couldn't move afterwards, and I'm not hurting. So I said, this is when you say, how does a doctor get involved? This is 8 months after I got my dad on the product. I said, Dan, call me in 2 months. A placebo is not going to last 2 months. Your mind is not going to fool yourself when your bones are rubbing like this. And I said, call me, because if it's real, I'm going to go out and meet the people who started the company, see the people that didn't sell it to the pharmaceutical company. I wanted to meet them. But I got to know it's real. So you be my guinea pig. Thank God what I'm about to tell you happened, because I might have dismissed it. Or maybe I would have looked at it later more seriously to help bring this to the world. He called me a week later and he said, this is not a placebo. And I said, it still could be. It's only been a week since we spoke. He said, no, something else happened. I'm like, what? He said he had skin tags in his armpits for decades. And that sounds kind of gross. He said they were like pink hanging pieces of skin. And he said his dad had it. It's a genetic thing. Men in his family get it. By the time his dad died, it was like a jungle under there. Was more skin tags than hair. And he said, I've had them. And he said, I'm putting on deodorant in the bathroom. And David, they're almost all gone. The ones that are there are brown. And he said, I flicked my finger against them. One of them just fell off on the floor. He said, this is doing something at the cellular level. And that's when it clicked. And that's when I said, I have to go meet these people. Went out, met them, saw they were pure integrity, none of the rah-rah MLM stuff. And they said, we'd love to have you help us bring this to the world. I said, okay. So I started just telling people. And eventually they asked me to be on the medical board with you, Maureen, and you, Lee. And that's a volunteer position. We don't work for the company. We just try to break down this massive breakthrough into bite-sized pieces for lay people to understand, hey, it's as safe as water. It comes with a money-back guarantee. Younger people have a lot more of it in them than older people. Younger people are healthier. See if it helps you. And that's what we kind of break it down to, right?
Awesome. So you
Well-
were still doing podiatry and sharing the molecules when you first got your AHA, got back from Utah. How were you transgressing
No.
from?
No.
Or how long did it take to?
So no,
switch?
no, I was not practicing when I was introduced to Asea. So in 1990,
Well, I heard you
end
say
of
you
nine-
sold it, but I didn't hear the year.
yeah,
Okay.
but I sold it before. So that, and part
Okay.
of this is the MLM thing that made me never want to do it again, and my wife certainly never want to do it again.
Okay.
In 1997, my mother had a horrible pain problem. Horrible pain problem. No one could make it better. A friend of mine said, "Have you tried using magnets?" And this is an important thing in my life because this is what made me think for myself. I don't look at the news anymore the same. I don't just buy it all hook, line, and sinker. I don't look at politicians. I don't look at pharmaceutical companies. I don't look at health. I don't look at anything the same because of what happened in 97. Used the magnets on my mom. Her pain got dramatically better. Tried it on some of my patients. Some of them had dramatic results. I'm like placebo, placebo, placebo. It worked on me, helped me somewhat for some pain. I thought placebo. But then I said, I can prove, there's one way for me to prove it's not a placebo. Put it on a limping dog instead of a limping person. If the dog stops limping, then I know that magnets work for pain. And no one can tell me they don't. And the first dog I did it to, the dog stopped limping in a few minutes. And I thought, it scared the hell out of me. Honestly, I'm like, I go through all that schooling, biology degree, and then podiatric medical degree and postgraduate training, and people laugh at this stuff. They laugh at acupuncture back then. They laughed at magnets. And I'm like, I just proved that it works. And I said, what else did they not teach me? What else do they not know? They think they know this, but they don't know this. And that changed my life. And so that product was marketed through network marketing. So I got involved with it and it took off and I was doing really well and I had time freedom and I was passionate about sharing this gift with people because they do work. They have to get the right ones, but they work. But then I sold my practice and my wife was like, "You're going to sell your practice?" I said, "Wendy, we're making more money than I was even as a physician, all of that. And we have time freedom." And she saw the money, but it was like, okay, well, is this long-term, and I made a mistake. I sold my practice. Well, about a year later, I saw the company doing some very bad things that I was very suspicious about. And I had no control over them, right? Because I owned my practice. So the ethics stopped with me. The buck stopped with me. I couldn't control what these people were doing. And they were running it into the ground and they were pulling money out. And I saw what they were doing. And I could not continue. I could promote the product, but I could not promote the opportunity because my income was dropping. So we were really hurting, honestly. So what happened was I didn't want to go back into podiatry yet. I thought I could always go back, but I felt like it was a step back if I did that. And I was like, God, bring me something where I can help people and not just in my office. So I got a job as a health consultant. And when Debbie brought it to me, I was working for somebody else. That's when I was introduced to this. Then I did this part-time for 3 years because Wendy said, you got to get to this amount of money for this many months before you think about letting go of that job. I did. And then, and she met the people in the company and she's like, these are good people. This isn't like what we experienced before, the facade, all the bull. And then she said a number and said, when you get to this number, she said, David, then I'll quit my job. And she was manager of a law practice. So that's what happened.
That's a good fill-in because I didn't quite get that health consultant part. Okay.
Maureen?
Awesome.
I was just going to say that, it's so interesting. I'm glad you touched on this because I was part of that same company. I wasn't very good at the network marketing part, but I had been looking for something more to offer my pain patients other than another pill or another procedure, and was tired of, kind of putting a Band-Aid on things and wanted to kind of get to the root cause of whatever was going on. And so I was exposed to the magnets and the infrared and the, spinning magnets, or what is probably a pulsed electromagnetic field. It was probably just early on. But again, like you, I never made a lot of money with that company. And so when I was introduced to this company and again came in because of my husband having a big health challenge, I too was like, don't go there. I'm not going to any meetings. I'm not going to learn the secret handshake. I'm not interested in that. And so it took me 6 months. So it's really interesting. People always want people to get started right away, but sometimes some of us have to go through a little bit of a learning, or making sure that it's real, or talking to the people who are running the company,
Yeah.
so that we know that they have our best interests at heart.
I agree. And it's not a race, I mean, and Debbie never pushed me. I was never pushed, but if I can get, we all know this, everybody needs this product because everybody's getting older, right? And this product basically helps your body regenerate the way it did when it was younger, right? So I'm 62. I feel like I'm 26. You can reverse the numbers. I take no meds. I just got my physical. It's like everything's perfect. I don't even take ibuprofen anymore when I golf. I mean, I used to golf in my 30s once a week, take ibuprofen. I go to Florida in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I play golf every day, sometimes 2 rounds a day, and I don't take ibuprofen anymore. I mean, I feel like a young man. I feel like I did when I was in my 20s. But the fact is, everybody would like to live younger, longer. Everybody needs this product, whether they're sick or not, because when you get sickness, it didn't just happen. It was brewing for a while. Then you got a symptom, and then the symptom gets bad enough, you go to the doctor, unless it's trauma. If you fall off your bike, it's bang,
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
different.
But, we can get into how it works and all that, but everybody needs this product, and everybody loves somebody who really needs it. Somebody's suffering, even if they're not suffering, somebody they know needs it, whether it's mental, physical, could be spectrum behavior, could be memory loss, could be whatever, it could be they're aching, they could be blood sugar. Everybody loves somebody that needs it. And from the opportunity side of it, there's no doubt. And anybody that disagrees with this it is just plain wrong. Not over 90% of people go through life struggling or settling financially, or with time freedom. They make a lot of money, they have no time freedom, or they don't have enough money, they don't have enough time freedom, or they don't have enough fulfillment in their life. They go through life struggling or settling with that. And anybody that disagrees, and I beg to differ, they're just wrong. Not everybody struggles, but most people settle. And there are enough people that struggle. So I want people to be aware of the breakthrough, that it really is a biotech company that's marketed this way, and that there's an opportunity. Let them choose what they want. And like Maureen, took you 6 months to look at the opportunity. It took me 8 months to look at the opportunity. But there's some people that say, I need an opportunity. I mean, there's a recession coming, or it's here. I need it.
Can we, Lee, do you mind popping in real quick? And not unless you want to do it, David, but what are these molecules? I mean, you touched on it a little bit. Lee, do you want to kind of grab that and take it? What are we talking about? Because there's a lot of people that are watching it now live, or will watch the recording. What the heck are we talking about? Salt water? What is it, Lee?
Well, we're talking about how our cells regenerate and renew. Dr. David just kind of mentioned that. But all of these modalities, interestingly, work on these same, what we call redox pathways. I maintain that just about anything or everything that makes a person feel well or better or improves them in any way, it does so because it activates these redox pathways. And there's a lot of good companies out there that have things that work, like we've been talking about. There's other modalities that work. Nutrition works, fasting works, exercise works, biophotostimulation works. There's a lot of things that affect the mitochondria and these, what we call transcription factors, which turn on the pathways that create cell defense and cell renewal. That's why we anti-age or can heal faster. What we have, I want to come back to this and ask Dr. David on this afterwards about comparing some of the different, how these conjoin together. But what we've got is a company that was doing biotech research, actually looking to make a drug out of this, happened across the ability to stabilize these reactive molecules that we make in our mitochondria when we eat and metabolize food. And when they stabilize those molecules, we found that by supplementing with them, they can mimic, or they can copy this, we call it mitohormesis. They do the same thing as when we do these other healthy things. They activate or turn on these pathways. Only we can do it directly, because these are the molecules that are made in the cell which activate all of these cellular renewal, cell defense, we call them cytoprotective capabilities inside the body. And that's just what's is so cool about this, is because, David said, everybody on the planet needs this. And I go further and say every cell of every body and every animal and every plant is like, this is the way, ultimately, if we strip this down to the very bottom, this is how energy gets from the sun into our cells. Is it's captured in food, we eat it, we burn it, and with that metabolizing combustion of food, we create these molecules. These are native to the body. We've for decades thought that they were all bad. We've taken antioxidants like it by the handfuls, thinking that if we could just stop the free radical damage, that we could solve all the health problems. Well, it turns out, the answer is in the problem, and that is we use these molecules to activate very important redox sensitive gene transcription pathways. This is how we turn on DNA. This is how we silence other genes. And the body has an amazing regulatory system that knows when to do that and how to do it. And so this hack, or this biohack, if you will, is just an amazing ability to be able to mimic what the body is already doing. And it's simply because we stumbled across this wonderful discovery of how to stabilize reactive molecules that are otherwise native to our body. Having said that, David, I want to come back and this is a great discussion, because you talked about another company that plays in the same sandbox, and yet it didn't work. So talk to us about this control thing, the idea of I don't know, we'll just be generous and say there's probably 2 or 3 or 5 dozen products or companies or ideologies out there that play in the sandbox, or at least they have a corner of the sandbox. I happen to think we have the whole sandbox. But explain how somebody out there can go through this analysis, this evaluation, to know what makes this one work in all aspects.
Well, I'll tell you, when I saw that dog stop limping, it set me on a journey, right, to investigate things and not be closed-minded. And I read a book just a couple of years after that. I read a book called Politics and Healing by Daniel Haley. And I recommend people get this book. It's not expensive. You can get it on Amazon. And the reason I pulled this off my bookshelf is because I just went out to corporate with some people investigating, and the woman, one of the people that came, there were like 20 that came. She owns a clinic called the Hoxie Clinic in Mexico. And I remember when I met her, I pulled this book off. I said, I know that clinic. And I pulled this off. And I'll tell you what it says. It says the suppression and manipulation of American medicine is what it says. And there are chapters in here on all kinds of things, modalities that have been systematically buried, right? Because there's a very powerful industry that we know right now that doesn't want people to stay well. If people stayed well, they'd be out of business. And I'm not talking about doctors. I'm talking about what they write on their little pads like I used to do. But as a matter of fact, the very first chapter is the Hoxie Story, and it's a treatment for cancer. And I lost the focus there. See if I can get it back. And fascinating. It's fascinating. They cure cancer. And they got kicked out of the United States. So now they had 14 clinics in the US. Now they have 1 in Tijuana. So people have to go across the border out of the US to get treatment for cancer using their treatment. There are a lot of natural things that we're just not taught about, right? And some of them just sound too good to be true, like magnets. Who believes magnets? So these products a lot of times are marketed through word of mouth marketing, network marketing. The problem is the people that run the companies very often are just greedy people that all they want to do is make money and use people. To find a purpose-driven corporation that said no to a pharmaceutical buyout simply because, they could have walked away with a ridiculous amount of money, but they felt that and they got a good sense that the pharmaceutical company only wanted it and the patents and the IP for one reason. If they controlled it, they could make it go away. And these people, Vertus, Norton, Tyler, and who founded Asea, said, no, we're going to choose people over profits. We're going to bring it to the world. And so there are a lot of good things on the market through network marketing. And Asea, the company, has a bunch of them, right? It's just that this happens to be the breakthrough for humanity. There are other products that they have that are absolutely remarkable. I use them all the time. Other Redox products, the skin products, the nutritional products, the omega products, the biome products, and God knows more. And you know what that did for my intestinal problem, right?
Oh boy, here we go.
As you said, one
I knew we
night.
were gonna
Talking
get
about
into that.
poop. Yeah, here we go.
We
But I'm
heard it.
telling you, there's so many things that sound too good to be true because the masses just don't believe it. And this is an experiential product. And you said, how do people know this is good? It's having an experience. So you have a product that's as safe as water. You can't be allergic to it like a medicine. It doesn't interfere with other medicines like medicines do. So you don't have to stop what you're doing. And there's no toxicity. When I would write
Any
prescriptions,
amount.
you write it for too high an amount, you can make someone sick or kill them. If the pharmacist doesn't catch my mistake, I could kill Mrs. Jones by writing a prescription. You can't overdose on this. It's made from salt and water. Your body will turn it back into salt water no matter how much you take, right? So you can't overdose. But it's results. I've been doing this for 12 years as a user of the product and 11 years as business. What gets people is results. Once someone's had a result, they're never at the mercy of an opinion, of someone's opinion. Oh, it's just salt water. Oh, it's just a scam. Oh, we would know about it. Once someone's had a result, they're bulletproof. They're bulletproof. So my goal is to have them see results on them or someone they love as quickly as possible. This could take 1 day, could take 90 days, but we probably talk about it. Anybody who this is the same as the drink, but in a gel form, or New 28. But you all know that anybody who wants to know that this is real or says, I'm going to prove you wrong, I can have them be a believer in 10 minutes. It doesn't take 1 or 90 days. It takes 10 minutes with the gel.
Now, David, you brought up a bunch of issues that people seem to have, and I want you to speak to the people out there that are healthy. We've got a lot of people that go, hey, David, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need this. I'm not sick. And also speak to why are there so many younger people? We're getting ready to see some tomorrow up in Midland, Texas, that we've got children that are having serious health issues.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we're exposed to so much stress. I mean, there's so many toxins. There's so many things. Kids are filled with vaccines when they're kids. There's so many things just beating us down that that were not pushing on us, stressing us before. So I'll give you, first of all, everybody's getting older. Someone says, I don't have any problems. In my mind, I'm saying baloney.
Just right.
Because I'll tell you the truth. I'm talking to somebody over 50. I'll say, you have nothing? Like nothing hurts you? No, nothing hurts me. You sleep perfectly. Oh, I sleep great. Your vision's perfect. You're wearing glasses. Oh, my vision's perfect.
Right.
Why are you wearing glasses? Right. So, and you don't get any wrinkles, right? You're not aging with wrinkles or anything, all that. No, I don't have any gut problems. No. Okay. If someone says all that, most likely they just don't want to lead you on a path and they're afraid to say yes. Cause like, gotcha, you're going to buy my stuff. Right. But they all love people to do. But one of the things that I love is that the gel for things that hurt, all a person has to do is test this on 5 or say they do it on 10 people. And the person, all these people, it's a 10-minute test. They rate their discomfort levels on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being horrible. They shake up the gel. It's clear. It's marketed to rejuvenate skin cells. I mean, it's for wrinkles. It's clear. There's no smell. It's for wrinkles, but they're not going to do it for that. Okay.
Right.
They're going to put it where it hurts 3 times in 5 minutes. So you guys know they rate their discomfort 1 to 10, put it on once, it dries, put it on twice, it dries, 3 times it dries. And in 10 minutes, I just say, you watch what happens to 9 out of 10 people. You observe it. And if you're one of those people, watch. I'm not promising anything, but you watch carefully what happens to almost all of them, 9 out of 10. Sometimes 20 out of 20, sometimes 8 out of 10, average 9 out of 10. And you'll conclude 3 things. 1, this is not salt water. And we can explain why it's made from salt water. 1, it's not salt water. 2, it's so ridiculously easy for anybody to replicate what you just did. If you just saw it on 9, anybody can do it. And the third is you know about it before everybody else. It's going to be mainstream, right? And so what happens is it validates Redox. It makes a person commit. There's a 30-day money back guarantee, but I can't get everybody to say, wow, this is amazing in 30 days, but I want them on it for 90, because 90% of people by day 90, or if they're taking 4 to 8 ounces a day. Some people say, I'm not going to drink 8 ounces a day. I'm just going to drink 4. I'm like, okay, then don't hold me to my percentages of expectations. Sometimes people need to go to 8, at least temporarily, to see some changes. Then they can decrease. So I don't know if I answered your question directly, but I just go back to, once someone sees it works, everything changes. Instead of investigating on Google and saying, oh, let me see if this stuff is real, what does Google say? Once they've done that on 10 people, then they go to Google and they're like, how did it do that? And why don't we know about it? And if they're interested in the opportunity, they're like, well, what's the compensation plan? The questions change when someone knows the product works.
Well, and we work with Rose Monday. She's the head coach of the USA Olympics and president of USA Track and Field. And we personally, our team is, Asea is sponsoring 2 athletes. You know, so what if people understand what it does for the body to be able to recover from extreme athletes? We're going to do an athlete show here in a couple of weeks. It's not just, I just want to make sure people understand, it's not just for people that are battling an issue. It's for those that remain healthy, stay younger longer. I want to live well into my, 100. And this is how you're going to do it.
I got you. I digressed off of it. You're right. So the double-blind study, the placebo controlled double-blind study that was done to see if it turned genetic genes back on, increased genetic expression, was done on an average of 35-year-olds that were healthy. And every single one, their genes turned back on. So, when you have a genetic expression, to make it real quick, what this study means, which is pretty cool, it means it's working on everybody. It's working on every person, whether you sense it yet or not, it's having an impact. So our genes, when we're born, generally, our genes are full genetic expression. They're producing proteins. And as we age, especially at puberty, the genes start to turn off. So a 10-year-old boy, his grandfather died at 50, and now his father needs a heart replacement because he's dying he's 10 years old. He's too young to realize it, but the grandfather's genes turned off to a point at 50, he died. The father's genes turned off at about 50, he's probably going to die. His genes are going to turn off, and when he hits 50, he's probably going to die. Not, generally speaking, because the genes turn off. This product turns genes back on. And that is huge, because these are mapped genes. We know what they control, from inflammation to hormone balance to vascular health to digestive enzymes to our innate immune system. And, for people that have been around in this world the last 2.5 years, we know what's been going on in the world, right? And the innate immune system, we have 2 immune systems. The innate immune system, which this turns the genes back on for, the innate immune system is the one that deals with viruses. So when you look at why do children do better with this weird thing going around the world than older people, maybe it's because their genes haven't turned off. We can't claim this cures, heals, or treats, or prevents, but we can darn well claim that it turns the genes on that control that. And that's why I love the name of Lee's book, Connecting the Dots
Right.
between redox biology and health. We want to stay healthy.
Yeah. David, how much do you take a day?
I drink 8 ounces a day. When I travel, like Wendy and I just went to France for 3 weeks, and when I'm going to get on planes, I'm going to be around a bunch of sick people. I drink a bottle a day for about 3 days before. We're going to go to Bora Bora in a couple of weeks. I'll be drinking a bottle a day before we go, just to kind of ramp things up, knowing that if I drink too much, it can't hurt me. My body just turns the excess back into saline.
Love it. Also, if you don't mind speaking to, like glutathione and SOD and what this does for the master antioxidants.
Well, I'll bet Lee is more of an expert on that. Lee's got the science. I mean, he is deep into the science and he can explain it, but and I'll just give my quick one is that, we have some very, very important antioxidants that our body produces, and they are far, far more effective and powerful than anything we get from foods, blueberries have antioxidants, acai berry has antioxidants, mangosteen has antioxidants, and they're all really good, but our bodies are much more powerful, including glutathione. But there's two forms of glutathione. There's activated glutathione that's doing what it's supposed to do, and then there's inactive that isn't, and it has to be reduced with a reductant. And one of the things this does is it turns the inactive into active. So effectively, you're raising your levels of working glutathione. So anybody in the natural world who knows what glutathione is says, kind of like in Jerry Maguire, you had me at glutathione. And that's just a little tiny bit of what this product does. And when we say it's a breakthrough for humanity, with not saying it's a drug, and this may sound strange to people that don't know that this works yet, but this is much bigger of a breakthrough than penicillin was. Penicillin saved millions of lives, right? But think about it. Then someone could cut their arm on a piece of barbed wire or a piece of glass, and they could lose their arm or die of sepsis, right?
Right.
Penicillin saves lives. And think about how weird it sounded back then. Hey, take this bread mold. It'll save your leg or your arm. Bread mold? Why am I going to take bread mold for? It's kind of like what we say. Hey, take this stuff that's made from salt and water and see what happens for you, right? But this is the glutathione part of it is just one little piece.
Maybe we should have.
Yeah, let me segue onto that, and we can get into something that Anne can speak very well about, and that is the whole concept of antioxidants. We've got vitamins and nutritional formulas out there, and maybe this is to anybody who's looking at this saying, well, I don't need this stuff because I take antioxidants. I take vitamins and I'm very healthy. And it's like, that's fine, but I'll just share some emerging research that I've come across and cross-referenced this. And that is that an antioxidant is the science speak for that is that it's a reductant. That means it has an extra electron so that it can reduce or stabilize a highly reactive molecule that we call an oxidant. So when we take antioxidant vitamins, we're providing these spare electrons that will quiet down these energetic free radical molecules that are the oxidants. Well, it turns out that some of the newer research is showing that the effect that these antioxidants are having is actually to stimulate the glutathione pathway. It's the exogenous or outside the body source of antioxidants is actually doing much or most of its work because it's upregulating the endogenous or inside the body pathways that produce the glutathione and the superoxide dismutase that then does the electron donating, which is what Dr. David was just talking about. You have your oxidized and your reduced form of glutathione, and the glutathione peroxidase that is upregulated with the pathways is the master side of the antioxidant process. And so that what that means is that if we take too many antioxidants, and megadosing is something that a lot of people will do because they think more is better. When we do that, we're actually suppressing the condition in the cell that activates these endogenous pathways. And so we have to be really careful. And that's where the Asea via type nutrients that have been calibrated and have been put together in a synergistic way are so helpful with the redox basis or foundation that's going on with everything we've been talking about, is they synergistically work together to not over suppress these pathways, but instead to actually activate them. And I'll toss that to you and you can follow up there maybe with some other information.
Well, I mean, we could have a whole night just on the nutrition, and, I call the glutathione the, super duper antioxidant. And what's neat is, I mean, this is not synthetic. People are going off getting glutathione shots and they're like forcing, and this is your native production this is making that native production work again. So here your body's going to start getting all sorts of benefits by getting the glutathione. But, our nutritional line is superior to anything that's out there because it not only synergetically works with redox. Redox is making everything else you do for good health work better. And ours is 100% absorption. So when we're doing our 4 source a day, we're getting all the nutrients that are in there. I mean, it's whole food. like I remember when Biome came out and Silverman's like the first night, overnight success. I mean, that's what's so wonderful about our biome is the gut health, that it having, the slippery element and that healing power. I mean, and then now cell performance. I mean, I can't say enough about the cell performance, what we've seen since April. And we've really not got to talk about that very much other than the night when the scientists came. But if y'all have not tried those, we have a PDF, you can look it up in your back office, or the person that invited you can send you information about those ingredients, what makes them so exceptional. And you're not going to find another, I mean, Mind is my favorite, and you're not going to find another product out there that has those nutrients all packed in that little sleeve, $1.67 a packet. You shake it up and here you are going to get, DNA improvement. You're going to get your blood sugar improvement. You're going to, of course, get your cognitive improved, all from that little packet. And people, you can strike a conversation and start off with any one of those three and let those lead you to the redox signaling. I'll never forget, Dr. Gardner said, for healthy people, redox signaling just makes you healthier. I mean, if you want optimal health, stay on redox signaling the rest of your life so you can maximize. And then you combine that with exercise that I encourage at least 3 days a week, good clean water, and get enough sleep at night. All of that is just going to make your whole redox experience that much better.
So Maureen, should people stay on this for the rest of their life? I mean, is this something really, can I just get better and go back to what I was doing, or should we stay on this forever?
Sure. It's kind of like the dentists say, just floss the teeth you want to keep, right?
You want to keep.
Mm-hmm. So, the way I explain it to people is you're going to, over time, the effects are cumulative. And so you will have healing, if you will, going on in the body. But if you started on a diet and exercise program and you got really fit and you look great, your body was ripped, and then all of a sudden you stop doing that and you're eating Big Macs and sitting on the couch with a remote, it's not going to happen overnight, but over time you're going to go back to baseline. And we actually know this from the study that Dr. Silverman was talking about with those healthy 35-year-olds. They found that 100% of the participants had that upregulation of the gene transcription. And when they took the participants off of it, they went back to baseline in 8 weeks. Now, if you're on the product for longer, it's probably going to take longer to go back to baseline, but you will. So, David's been on the products for 12 years. I've been on the products for almost 10 years. You guys have been on them for what, 6?
7.
7.
Yeah, and Lee,
7.
Lee here. How many years for you? 4?
5.
You're muted.
You're muted.
4 or 5. I was trying to read.
4 years.
4 years.
There you go.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I show my unofficial before and after pictures, and they're horrifying. All I can think, and
I saw them. He looks awesome. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
They're awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome because it's such a big transformation. But I think, gosh, 8 years ago or whenever it was that we joined the medical board, I thought that was a pretty good picture at the time, but I look nothing like that now. And I wonder what that girl would look like 8 years later. I'm looking at David and look how good he looks at 62. I'm 62 too. Yeah, you're a little blonder, but
Don't give him a big head.
Well,
he looks fabulous. Yeah.
But we all look younger than we did, and that's the bonus, because that's the cells. But when we talk about benefits of products and ingredients, the bottom line is, I love lobster, right? And I love crabs, right? I love shellfish. But someone that's never had a lobster before, they'd look at it and say, "You eat that? It looks like a scorpion. You're going to eat that? Like, you have no idea how good it is. It's so delicious." And I could say it all day long until I just took a piece, dipped it in some butter, and said, "Shut up, put this in your mouth." 90% of people are going to say, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." It's an experience. And with the money back guarantee on the product, this is easy to experience. I mix the mind and the energy together.
So do we.
At noon, and I put it in a bottle of water. I drink it down. I've always had severe attention issues. I mean, talk about squirrel, squirrel. I mean, I don't know how I got through school, but I read a paragraph, maybe people can relate, and I go, what did I just read? I got to go back and read it again. I don't know how the heck I got through school. This stuff makes me focus and the mind, and then mix it with the energy, and no coffee, nothing. I just feel like this. So if I travel and go through time zones and I'm in Asia, whatever, it's amazing. But here's the kicker. Like, we don't have a quote unquote weight loss product. A lot of people report, okay, here's my weight when I start. Here's my sleeping, how I sleep, energy, mood, vision, blood sugar. They just track their progress. One of the things we haven't put on that form is weight, because a lot of people do lose weight, right?
Yeah.
But when I started doing this, I mean, my appetite, I was the voracious eater. I never brought home leftovers. At dinners, people would just push their, here, David will eat it. David will eat it. Give it to David. He's the pig. And I really, it changed with this. It totally changed. I started bringing home leftovers, drop weight. We just went to France for almost 3 weeks. I brought some with me, but I didn't want to take it because I knew if I took it, I wouldn't be eating all the food I wanted to eat in France. I literally, and when he's like, you're starting to gain a little weight, I'm like, no, I don't care. It's worth it. When I get back, I'll get back to normal. Right. So I don't think it's that important as to the facts about these products. You just try it and you watch what happens with nothing to lose. Money back guarantee and safe as water.
Okay, it's time to bring up the elephant in the room, if you don't mind, David. You had a chance to meet Vertus Norton. Can you explain why he chose network marketing as the way to distribute his product to the world? Because a lot of people go, ooh, and a lot of people have had a past bad experience, and they reference back to that you did. Lee Osler, he still has I think the chicken bone's gone. Maureen, go look at the name on the door. Yeah, I didn't have any problems with it because we really didn't know anything about it. But why networking, David?
Well, anybody that's watched the Genesis video, it's about 16 minutes. You can see it at amazingmolecules.com. I put a site together myself with no contact information, gettingyoungerclub.com. Just simple things like answering, is it just salt water, or how do I know it works quickly? Or let me take a tour of the FDA registered production facility. Watch the Genesis, because this really is, it truly is, it's a biotech company. It's a biotech company that was going to literally flip it to a pharmaceutical company. But when they, as I said earlier, when they got the very strong message that they were basically going to shut it down and bury it, they don't want people staying well. Pharmaceutical companies do not want people staying well. They want them to have problems, get on their medications, and depend on the medication for that specific issue to take care of the symptoms of the problem. And I'm not a medicine basher. I just think that this system is backwards. It's like, if you can help the body take care of itself, it makes a lot more sense than waiting till there's a problem, reacting to it with something that's toxic, that's going to have side effects and probably get you on another medicine from the side effects. Right. So when they turned down the offer, Vertus Norton and Tyler Norton, you'll see in the video, it's like, well, how are we going to bring it to the world? So they started looking at retail distribution. Who's going to buy a product on a store shelf made from salt and water? And you can detox with this. You take this, your glutathione levels go up, there's cellular turnover. You could get a headache, you could get a rash, you could get diarrhea. It's less than 10% of people, but those 10% of people need some hand holding, right? So they decided on word of mouth marketing, because when they had test marketed on people in the Park City area where they're from, they tested it on, I think, 35 people, and said, here, drink as much as you want, fill up your jugs, take it home, see what happens. Just tell us in 2 months how you feel, what happened to you. Well, in 2 months, the 35 people had turned into 140 people, because these people told people it worked. When they're not going to give it, they're not going to be filling it and giving it to their friends if it isn't working. So that that's when they chose network marketing, but we call it next level marketing. It's a biotech company that holds people and principles above ego and economics. And look, I didn't believe the words. I had to see it for myself. And once I did, and I met Vertus and I met Tyler, I'm sitting around a table with them and Jerem and Chuck, the CEO. and there was a time when we were all crying. All of us were crying. I mean, these are big business people. I mean, Virtus was in charge of international strategy of a $36 billion a year company. Asea did less than 200 million last year. It's not a big company yet. It's growing every year, but we're crying. And I said, this is the real deal. And I knew it in my heart. Everything Debbie had told me, everything everybody had told me, I'm like, but I had to see it for myself because I had been burned. I said, I am in, and I knew exactly where I would be today. I knew by putting that effort in, telling people and helping them tell people and tell people and tell people, creating that ripple effect creates a ton of residual income because the company spends no money on advertising. All the money that will go to drug reps and marketing and advertising goes to us. I knew that I was going to have the life of dreams, my dreams, with time freedom, money, satisfaction, fulfillment, tears, hugs. And it's just been a dream come true for me. I just feel so blessed. And I want other people who want a better life physically and financially and fulfillment wise to have a better life.
Can you share that experience? You said that Wendy was not for this. What changed her?
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So my wife was so disgusted with the thought of me doing network marketing again because it had almost ripped us apart. And so when I met Virtus and Tyler, I knew. She didn't come. I knew. I'm like, this is different. So she's like, yeah, it's different. So I just started doing it part-time. And I knew I had to do two things. I had to make enough money where she'd say, hey, there's significant income here, but also I had to get her around a sea of people so she could see that they were different. So the income was going up. I was still working the other job, but I qualified for a trip to Costa Rica. So she said, well, I'll go to that, but I'm not going to talk to anybody. I don't try to introduce me to people. I just want to go relax. I'm going to Costa Rica. I've never been there. So we go. And when we get to the hotel, a lot of those hotels, they're open air, like the reception area is all open. There's no doors. We go in, I go to the desk and I go to check in and they say, your room will be ready shortly, Dr. Silverman. They have a little cocktail thing, a little drink with whatever. Take this. So Wendy and I took one and I looked out through the backside and I saw on the veranda, which I didn't know the pool was underneath. I saw Virtus standing there by himself, like on the railing. And I'd only met him once. And I said, Wendy, come on, let's go look at the pool. And there's Virtus. I'm going to introduce you. So I introduced her to Virtus and Virtus is a big guy. I mean, he was like 70, I guess 72 at the time or something, and tall guy. And Wendy's tiny. And so she shakes his hand. Hi, nice to meet you. Like this. And then I hear him say, Dr. Silverman, your room's ready. So I went back to get the key. She was talking. I come back out and they're hugging. I mean, she's hugging him. And I get closer and they're both crying. And I'm like, and then Virtus kind of pulled off and said, hey, I'll see you at the reception tonight. It's good to see you, David. And she just looked at Wendy and said, I'll see you tonight. And I got tears in my eyes now. And I looked at Wendy and I said, what happened? I was gone for like 4 or 5 minutes. What happened? And she had tears in her eyes and she just looked at me and said, you do this. You do this. And that's when she came on board. And that's why I say it's seeing the product work, seeing some financial benefit, but it's seeing that this is a cause-driven, purpose-driven business with people who are now our dear friends, that I would entrust my children's lives with them. Don't have grandchildren yet, but I would entrust. It's like I say, it's how can you find something that's this good in the world?
Yeah, she saw his heart.
I want more real quickly. I want Maureen. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. I know I always do. We can go over. I don't care. Maureen, can you share the story when you and Joaquin were sitting with Virtus and you asked him what's been the biggest thing that you've seen with this breakthrough technology? Can you share that real quick?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's funny. My sponsor tricked me into having dinner with Virtus. We didn't even really know who he was. And my husband and I, both physicians, my husband does a lot of research, kind of closed-minded, although we were drinking the snake salt, as we like to call it. So we went down and we had dinner with with Virtus. And, you know, he is a big guy and there's just a gravitas to him. And yet he's very friendly. He laughs easily. And I was asking him a lot of hard questions because we wanted to know, you know, why isn't it FDA approved? And he said, well, we probably could get it FDA approved, but it would take, you know, at least another 10 years and probably another $10 million. And in that time, people would suffer. And we're just going to let it, you know, take it to the people and let them have it and let science catch up. And I was like, okay. And I said, well, what is the, you know, what is the biggest story? What have you seen that really affected you? And at this time, he had hundreds, I didn't know it at the time, but he had received hundreds of letters from thankful people for not selling out to the pharmaceutical companies. And he said to me, you know, there was a woman who was incontinent. And he said, and she got on the product and she came to me and said, thank you so much for this product. I'm no longer having that issue. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And I said, well, what was it about that really got you? And he said, it's about human dignity.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And that actually touched me. Wasn't the miracles. It was about giving somebody back their dignity. And I thought, wow. And I'm sorry I said incontinence. It's probably a diagnosis. We're not supposed to say that, but he did say that at the dinner. So, oh gosh, talking about Virtus always gets to you, you know, just incredible. But
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. You know,
I'd like to,
really what we got into. So go ahead, Lee.
I'd like to chip in because I want to put a punctuation point here. What David and Maureen just emphasized, I think, was the answer to the question I was asking earlier as to what makes this different. You know, we talk about magnets that affect the spin of electrons, that affect the mitochondria. We can talk about lasers that affect the cytochrome C portion of the mitochondria that makes more ATP. We can get into the science and I can bore you with all the details if you want, but there are companies that have things that do that, but this company has it all. This company has the only product, the only patented and protected product that is Redox. This is the reduction oxidation platform upon which everything in the cell works. It is the regulatory circuitry of the body and of the DNA, period, end of story. And then when you combine it with what makes it unique and different is the story of the humanity, as Dr. Maureen just talked about, the ability to bond hearts and to do what this company has done and taking it to what we call the next level. That changes the dynamics of the business interaction to being that of service and helping other people and blessing their lives rather than taking. There's a very well-known quote that when we lose ourselves in the service of others, we find ourselves. And there's a lot of people in this company that have found themselves for that very reason, because this genuinely plays at the foundation of everything health. And it is operated with the same principles that guide humanity. And so I appreciate, David, your bringing all those points up, Maureen kind of punctuating it with her experience there as well. And this does have to get at some point to the right brain where there's a feeling to this, where when you look at it and you sniff it and you touch it and you sense it, it feels right. And I would encourage everybody who's watching, who's listening to this, whether it's live or in replay, to get back with the people that talked to you about this, that invited you to watch this or to be a part of this experience. And do yourself a favor. I mean, every one of us could sit and bore you to details with why the science is accurate and why it works. And if you want a good evening experience, it'd be fun to spend that with you. But there is something that's in the selflessness that's also self-serving, and that is you can save yourself and find yourself at the same time. And so thank you for all that and for everybody's contribution tonight.
Yes.
It's
a great hour.
And I'm coming in as a guy that had an addiction to pain medication. And I saw someone in the chat that said it's expensive. And until you've lost your health, you have no idea what expensive is. And I truly believe that I'm alive right now because I had a friend share this with me 7 years ago. I was taking 500 pills a month. I was addicted to pain meds for 25 years. And you guys can tell me how long will your organs last at that level. You don't have to be a doctor to share this. We have 3 amazing, wonderful, lovely people. But guys, you don't have to be a doctor. I say we have a biotech opportunity. No experience recommended. You got to have a heart. You got to have a heart. Please don't misread that you have to be medical to share this. Everyone out there deserves to hear about this. And we are the marketing voice of the most God-given. Was it stumbled upon or was it divine? This is a divine gift. And so, David, do you want to wrap it up?
Well, I'll just touch on one thing you said, and then I'll wrap it. Is you're right. The most successful people in this business are not doctors. The beautiful thing is,
guys aren't doing too bad, though. I will say, both you and Maureen and Lee.
We're doing okay. I mean, I'm not the top earner in the company, and it's fine. There are people in my business now who are going faster than me. There's a couple in Sydney, Australia. They're Samoan. They made $1 million their first year, that's unheard of here because no one's buying a lot of product here. There's not a big buy-in, and there's a money back guarantee. So people come in between $300, $1,000 money back guarantee. They vet the product, but it's keeping it simple. And if you want the science, this book has it. In fact, redoxmatters.com, that's where this is going to be stored. There are interviews with doctors there. I mean, it's all there. Bottom line is the better thing to do is to get good at asking people questions. If you can uncover a problem that they have, whether it's physical, mental, sleep, wrinkles, athletic performance, they can't walk, they hate their job, they don't have enough money, they want to leave a legacy, they're not sure, they're not secure about retirement. If you can get people to get to the point where they answer you, we have a potential solution for them, and they'll take the time to look at it. If they want the deep science, then take them to where the deep science is, but you don't have to. Honest to God, when I share this with people, I don't go into the science. I take them to a video and say, "Here, watch this," because if I explain the science, then they think they have to explain the science.
Right.
Exactly.
What happens is I have a lot of people buying product, but no one duplicates it. So I'll just give one plug to one book that I think would help people tremendously. This book, Questions Are the Answer.
Yes, I heard about that
by
one.
Alan Pease. I am telling you, if people want to help a lot of people in this world, and or they want to make a lot of money, because if you get good at building this business, you'll make a lot of money and you'll help a lot of people. Get good at what's in this simple little book, and don't just read it and say, "Oh, that was good. Give me another book." Practice what's in here. It's so ridiculously simple.
Yeah.
You will get more effective at helping people. And couple that with the fact that if you're sitting with somebody and they're hurting, you got a 90% chance in 10 minutes, they're like, "Well, how did it do that?" And then you get into even deeper questions. This is what I think a lot of people don't do. And this is what makes me feel bad is so many people see this product work. They love the company. They love the people. They want success. They want a better life for them and their families. And they don't have the success because they don't take the time to get good at a few things. And that's probably the most important thing you got to get good at is asking questions, because then you can identify problems. So I would just say,
Excellent.
look, to finish it, just know that we're in a situation that none of us will probably be in again. We won't find ourselves in such a fortuitous position to know about the biggest breakthrough in the history of health. And we have the ability to be part of it, not only just health-wise and get the benefit, but to better our lives. And I just hope people take it seriously and decide to become a professional at this. If they want to get paid really well, then you got to get good at helping people. And you guys are great mentors. We have trainings, we have everything. I'm just again, I'll end the way I started. I'm honored to be part of. It's an honor to be part of this with you guys and girls.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
This is awesome.
Lee, anything you want to say?
I just want to say thank you to David for your inspiration. You're a great leader. You know how to put it together, and so love having you on this program with us.
Thank you so much.
Maureen?
Well, I've always loved David, and it's amazing to have him on this call, and great to be on the board with you and with you, Lee. Such brilliant people. So,
Thank you.
Why won't they bring me on?
because you're the doctor of
I'm
love.
We're not going to talk about
My dad
money.
was a doctor. Doesn't
Money
that
for
count? So guys, thank you so much. We do this as paying it forward. Everyone deserves to know about this. If you don't want to explain it, come here on Friday and let the doctors do it.
Yep.
So if you care about anything alive, including animals, you want to come back next week. We got Beth Wolford and we got Dr. Marty Morin, veterinarian.
Awesome.
This stuff, doesn't it work on everything alive, docs?
Hey,
So-
are puppies healthier than older dogs? Are kittens healthier than older cats? Or are teenagers healthier than older adults? It's the same thing.
You're muted, Jim.
Jim,
Oh,
you're muted now.
unbelievable.
Wow, how did I do that? That's weird. This video will be up shortly at redoxmatters.com under the video tab. Go there. The recording will be there. It'll also be in Asea United very shortly. So guys, thank you, David. We love you.
Love you too, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for all you
Enjoy
do.
your
It's an honor to be here.
Enjoy
Thanks,
your
everybody.
trip.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bora,
Bye-bye,
Bora.
everybody.